Holy smokes. Is it wet where you live? We had 2 inches of rain last night here. February. Can you believe it? 54 degrees, southern New England. Feels like spring's right around the corner. Listen, last video we went over tinder, specifically birch bark. Being that that was my favorite tinder, but there are other tinders available. And, you know, we really should go over them because, you know, where, even in some places in New England, when you walk through the woods, you might not see a birch tree. So let's go over some of the other options, some other tinder. Next, on Black Squirrel Bushcraft. Alright, so in our last video on tinder, we talked about birch bark as being one of my favorite tinders, but there's others out there. This happens to be cedar that I've taken off the bark, or taken the bark off of a piece of cedar. This happens to be, I believe it's white cedar, but you could use red cedar, you could even try arborvitae, etc. But the idea here is, you notice there's a lot of curls in here. There's a lot of larger material. What you're looking for is some of the smaller material, and then just like everything else, like grasses, like leaves, etc., you want to try to grind them up as best you can, and then so that they'll take a spark better. The idea being that you want a more of a surface area for it. And you can see it takes some coaxing, but it will eventually catch. Not like your birch bark, but certainly it will catch. Okay? So that's cedar bark shaved up. Will take a spark. Don't forget, ferrocerium rods, which that's what this is, will tend to send out a hotter spark than a flint and steel will, almost double. Okay, so we're talking between 500 versus 1,000 degrees. So your ferrocerium rod, if at all possible, is what you want to use primarily. All right, for a successful fire. Okay, we'll go on to the next tinder. Okay, one of the next items I have, which I know is almost good as birch bark in terms of catching a spark, but it's very it's very fast. So if you don't have your everything together and ready to go and know your sequence of how things are gonna how they should go, it'll be on fire, then it'll be gone. So basically, milkweed, once it's dry, has this very fine hairs to it, and usually takes a spark very well. Probably better than birch bark, but it doesn't, like I said, I don't think it has the longevity. And it needs air, so you have to kind of keep moving it around. And see now, and it's so you really have to mix this with something like birch, maybe birch shavings, etc., just to keep it going, because you can see that it starts to smolder and it just takes away way too long to really control it. We'll try it one more time. We'll try to process up a little bit more here. See how that goes. All right, one more shot here. See, it just runs. It doesn't stay too long. So you can get it going. I mean, look at, there's all of that fresh stuff that's in there. So it really needs the air brought to it constantly. In other words, you have to constantly turn it. So not not a great tinder, but it probably would work if it's incorporated with some other materials. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so the next thing I have here is just a seed head from a grass, and we're just going to see if the seed head itself will take a spark. As is, it's dry. So that's from grasses. Just burning up the rest of that stuff. So wild grasses, the seed heads that you get off the top of them, and wild grasses themselves, the leaves you could probably break down and utilize as a tinder that might take a spark. Okay, we'll move that aside and try another one. All right, so the last tinder I'm going to talk about today is cattail. Now you can find cattails. Cattails grow on the edge of wetlands, edges of ponds, on the edge of a swamp. If you see drainage ponds around commercial areas that were constructed to, say, divert rainwater into like a holding pond, you might find them there. But at any rate, you can usually get these, even in the winter time, they'll stay pretty uniform. I have one here that I've been using. I'm going to show you just how interesting the volume of this will change as I start to peel it back. It almost like quadruples or more in volume. Just a little bit of down that I take off of here. Now the problem with there's sort of a give and take here with the down of a cattail, and that is it's very volatile, but it constantly needs to be agitated if you want to sustain any kind of a flame. But even if you do that, it's here and it's gone in a flash. So even if I keep moving it around a little bit, it's still going to take only of about 5 to 7 seconds just to be gone. So it might be good for to incorporate something else with it, like some other kinds of barks or grasses, etc., to sort of piggyback on that quick flash, and then something else to sort of sustain that fire. Also, it would probably work very well in a tinder bundle. So if you could get an ember to blow up hot enough, this would ignite and then ignite whatever was around the tinder bundle itself. So I hope you found that informative. Certainly, if you would like to add in the comment section some of the other tinders that you might find in your area, we could get a list going. If you like the video, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see future videos, definitely subscribe, because we're going to be doing a few more videos in our fire series. The next one's going to be on kindling and firewood processing, along with the tools to do that. And then we're going to round it all off with actual fire building itself. So until next time, thanks for watching. Keep your tinder dry and stay safe. Take care.